I took 3 days off. 3. That's it. From my grueling 9-to-5 job playing Darktide, and I come back, and what do I find? But my enemies have been conspiring against me. They are circling around me in the shadows. They are nipping at my heels like filthy hyenas, scavengers. They want to rip me off of my throne of power, my righteously earned seat atop the glorious and very important Darktide content creator hierarchy. But they will not have it, you hear me? You will have to pry this throne out from underneath my cold, dead ass cheeks. I will die or Darktide will die. Those are the only options. Anyway, this is not to say that they have not been somewhat successful at perturbing me. You know, even mosquitoes can make you itch every once in a while, but they managed to get my fucking build banned from Gameslantern. What the hell? I didn't even know that was possible, but Darktide fucking Darktide on Reddit did a little Reddit thing, and they went in and complained about my glorious build that I put a lot of effort into, and by I put a lot of effort into it, I might have delegated it slightly, but you know what? Johnclavum Barross? That's a golden name right there, and he did not deserve this sort of treatment. I am Spartacus, okay? I am Johnclavum Barross. We are all Johnclavum Barross. You ban one of us, you might as well ban all of us. Oh yeah, they didn't just ban the build, right? They banned the whole fucking account. It's gone. And for what reason, Gameslantern? Where is this list of rules? Where is the... I don't see it anywhere. Wait. Nope, it's not. I don't see it anywhere on here. Granted, I have not looked, but I do not see the code of conduct on here that says you cannot make obvious shitposts and then direct your players to brigade and upvote obvious shitposts for fun and laughs. A little trolling is now illegal. Is that it? This is 1984. This is Obama's America. I will not stand for it. This is Democracy Manifest, and I was just trying to enjoy a succulent Chinese build, and you come in here and ban me outright. Ridiculous, absurd, outrageous. I have half a mind to make another build, and this build will be an even better build, and it will not include AI-generated content in the description. It will not have 80,000 words of AI-generated slop, as well as another 10,000 words of a Wikipedia page about polymers pasted into it. It will be all my own earnest feelings about various related Darktide topics, and ban that. Challenge you to that, Gameslantern. Okay, rant over, but I don't mean that. You know, obviously that would be a waste of everyone's time. I don't want to beleaguer the overworked Gameslantern moderators any more than they already are. But what I should say is I want to start fresh. I want to clear the slate here. Okay, let's start fresh. You know, hi, I'm Mr. E. You're Gameslantern, whatever. I want to be honest, right? Obviously, yes, I am Johnclavum Barross. I admit to it. That was an obvious shitpost build. I did do a little bit of a sneaky, trolly sort of, you know, a naughty by having a bunch of viewers upvote it for funsies. Okay, I had my fun. Fair is fair, right? In the interest of being earnest and getting everything out there on the table, I should admit that that is not my only account that I shitpost on the site with, right? So it is a little bit more subtle, right? I had to get more and more obvious over time so that you guys would catch on eventually for the joke, but I do have other shitpost accounts. This one is one right here, Reginald, this account. All the builds that I posted under this pseudonym, they are shitposts. They're like very slight, like not so obvious shitposts, but they are shitposts. They are artificially upvoted. This is all AI generated. In fact, you are probably wondering, like, wait, I thought Reginald posted the videos. Some astute viewers have noticed, and I've seen them comment this in the past, that Reginald and I sound a lot alike, right? That is because, and I admit this here today, guys, this is the first time I'll admit it, Reginald actually is just me, but I ran him through an AI. It's like a modulation on my voice. He's AI generated in no small regard. And yeah, I mean, some people, haters will say that his channel existed before AI was like even able to do that, but they don't know like how YouTube and stuff works. And I mean, all you have to do to see proof of that is the flame skull is in the builds. That was an AI hallucination. I couldn't get out of it. I tried like talking to ChatGPT and telling it that that's like stupid, but it just kept putting it back in. So like sometimes AI just loses its mind like that. So that's the explainer for like what these builds are. So And what the Reginald channel is in a greater scope is it's all just mystery AI generated content. So technically I do have over 100,000 subs. Yay, we did it, guys. That's so awesome. Congratulations, everybody. But yeah, so it's cool if you want to go ahead and ban the Reginald account. I'll give you my permission. You should also probably go in here and ban. This is also mine. You know, obviously I keep hammering on this build, but this is also mine. I mean, you just look at it. It's got an autogun. I always shoot an autogun. So yeah, this is an obvious shitpost build. It has an 50,000 word description to it. So I mean, how is that? That's obviously a shitpost, right? So that should probably get cleaned up too, as well as yeah, just the whole account probably. And I don't have time to update it anymore. That's why I updated it 10 months ago. So yeah, that's all well done and said. Anyway, that's enough talking about Gameslantern. Finding out that I'm banned from Gameslantern is a pretty disheartening start to the morning. But let's go ahead and let's go back to Reddit. You know, Reddit will cheer me up here. I'm gonna peruse a couple of comments. Reddit and the Darktide Discord, they really love me in these places. They're big fans, big Mr. E heads, so I can always go there for a little confidence boost to get me back on top of my game. Let's see what Reddit has to say. Let's pick some random comments here. Okay, I think his channel for the most part is good for new players, but that's about it. I stopped taking him seriously during this Skitarii release. He's really trying to force that Shock Maul is the best in slot weapon for Skitarii. Even in ARC builds, telling people to use a Shock Maul, he was clearly never tried those weapons because he was rushing to get his builds so he could get those early views. Nice, okay, thank you for that comment. He went to the website, changed default search settings for most relevant, where builds are actually acceptable, not worse than his builds at least. Okay. To most like, digged up some prehistoric build for Auric that I was seeing there like 3 years ago, claimed it's AI generated when it isn't, said autogun is shit, etc, etc, etc. What the fuck? How can someone think that asking people to upvote dog shit build is proving anything other than the fact he has zero integrity? Very cool, yep. He paywalls his builds, LMFAO, there are loads of content creators who's just better at the game. I was thinking this is a prime example of never attribute to malice when it can be explained by stupidity. But I guess in this case it's actually both. Well, you know, hey, at least we're winning both awards here. The concept of paywalling a Darktide build is genuinely baffling to me. The ego one would have to possess to even consider that. You know, I do have a pretty healthy ego. Thank you for your consideration. It's really funny how the second he started paywalling his builds, he does this shit. Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of shit. You're welcome, I suppose. Maybe he says it's really funny, right? Okay, so he says I'm funny. That's fun. That's good. Yeah, I think I'm funny. Apparently he paywalls his builds too. The more I read about it, the more he seems like an average algorithm chasing content creator. Yeah, I am a content creator. Thank you very much. And I'd be honored. I thought I was like, you know, sort of in the lower tier, but I'd be honored to be considered average. There's nothing wrong with being average, guys. Every community got to have that one YouTuber who's a literal cancer in whatever community they latch onto. And well, this is such a nice supportive comment. He's noticed how fast I've been growing lately, that like I've just been kind of like, you know, really exploding my numbers and like metastasizing across the Darktide community, and he's hyped for that. Thank you, dude. This is a lot of good support from Reddit, as I have learned to expect from them. And just to like address, I did see a couple of concerns in there, and I do really value what random Redditors have to say. So I wanted to go and just check and make certain that I am not losing my mind. But I pulled up like the build videos that I have that are for members only, so like the paywall builds they were talking about, and I've got 1, 2, fuck, hold on. I always get tripped up with the number that comes after 2. 3, and then 4 is this one up here, because these are just like other videos. So 4. And to be fair, like I would say I've made somewhere between like 9 or 10 builds total on my channel ever. So this is probably a lot. So yeah, Reddit is typically pretty right. Like, you know, they did catch the Boston bomber, so I will have to cede to them on this one. Members, I'm so sorry guys, but no more members videos ever, because Reddit is upset that they don't get them. So that's off the table. In fact, you will have to keep paying me money, but no members benefits at all. The Discord server is shut down. No playing Wordle, that's now banned. Yeah, it's just, I mean, that's just good business practice, right? Okay, so on past that, we have one more target to hit today, and of course it's Reginald. All right, that's enough fun and games. Let's go ahead and attack our final foe, the ringleader of this orchestrated assassination attempt on my regency, and that's Reginald, of course. Reginald has a part 1, good lord, about, you know, my corrections to his build, etc., etc. He says he has another 40 minutes of this. Man, I'm gonna be straight with you. I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I can. I put this on like 2x and blasted through it. At this point, I think we just gotta agree to disagree, because I just genuinely, I think that there's definitely some stuff here that is like to taste, that I'll point those out where it is, and there's some stuff where I think that it's just a straight upgrade, and I don't know how else to be like to be about it. But you know, everybody plays a little bit different. But let me go through here. I'm gonna generalize about the points he's talking about. You can go watch this build or video if you want. If you got 34 minutes and then another 40, make sure if you watch this video, you are committing yourself 100%. You must watch his follow-up 40-minute video. So yeah, that's what you're sitting in for. About a feature-length film. So we have a couple points to make here, and so the first one, he's talking about the Skitarii meta. My contention, by the way, is that the Skitarii meta, the most effective tactic available, the strongest thing you could add to the team if you're playing a Skitarii, is Voltaic Emitter, Arc Rifle, yada yada, right? And then I think I did like Power Overload or something right on the side of that. So the reason that is so strong is because that can just like explode everything. You will just evaporate hordes. I mean, look at this, the sort of damage that we can get here on these crushers, right? We're just doing this for free, basically, although we shouldn't be shooting them in the head, because it doesn't matter to shoot them in the head and we're knocking ourselves back. The Arc Rifle is the most overpowered weapon on this class by a fucking long shot. It's crazy how OP this weapon is. And so building around it is obviously the way you're going to flex the most power in general. And then you just add in everything else that's good. New Spheric, Voltaic Emitter. So basically, like, we add just a crazy amount of absurd ambient damage to the team. Every long-range, mid-range target is annihilated. Hordes are annihilated. Gunners are shut down, shocked. There's massive damage amplification that's going out. And so if you're going to add one of these to your team, if you're going to add a Skitarii to your team, my contention would be that Skitarii, the meta Skitarii, the updated one with the Arc Rifle and stuff, that would be the strongest single Skitarii you could add. In his comparisons, he still contends that like this, the Alpha Primus, is like the stronger, or like strong among the strongest. I have to say that I don't think a melee Skitarii is really in contention, because there are characters out there that can do melee better and provide more value in the melee slot. We can provide ungodly amounts of range damage as this character, and so I think just flexing into that has got to be the strongest way to play Skitarii. And his other comparison is us playing a duos Havoc 40. Now, I don't think it takes like an overly critical eye to realize why this wouldn't be an accurate representation of either of our builds, really, because duos Havoc 40 is not a realistic circumstance that players are actually playing. Like, this is like for lulz, basically. That's crazy overtuned for what 99.9999% of players are actually going to experience, and it also is a test that is biased towards his build, because it's a melee build versus mine. Because when you're playing Havoc 40, with two people, guess what happens? There's a million fucking things on the screen, and everything is trying to come and get you. And what do range builds not like when everything is crowding on top of them and trying to murder them? What do melee builds like when everything is crowding on top of them and trying to murder them? So it's going to bias itself towards melee. If you think about it from this perspective, if we were to run a duo, what's the most powerful class in the game, right? I think both Reginald and I would agree, the most egregiously OP thing in the game, Flame Staff Psyker, right? Would you want to run two Psykers into Havoc 40 duos? No, because the power of the Psyker is not that it's like a one-stop shop that solves all problems in the game. It's that it does such an incredible amount of damage, and all it needs to do that damage is just a little bit of space and a little bit of time. If you can stop those enemies from getting to you, and you can buy a little bit of time to build your damage up and build your flame stacks, you'll just kill everything. Everything's just dead. And that's the thing, is like when you're in a real game setting with a ton of other, not a ton, but 3 other people, and they're being targeted as well, and the attention is split, and the Psyker just gets to do whatever, you got taunt or whatever else on the disruption stagger on the team, then that's when the Flame Staff Psyker just goes crazy, because they can apply literally infinite exponential damage everywhere. That's what can make this range build really like excel and go crazy. You would want to run instead in a Havoc 40. I think we could very easily clear a Havoc 40 duos with 2 Ogryn's Thunder Maul, or Thunder Power Maul, right? Because it's AoE and it's like we're just super tanky frontline beefy boys who are right there in the action. We could bruise, go toe-to-toe with any amount of enemies that the game throws at us. Even though that wouldn't be like the most powerful thing in other contexts, it would be insane in duos because everything is trying to get you. You need to build something that can like get stuff off you when you're surrounded with like crazy numbers. So range builds are like hurt in this sort of scenario. And so yeah, that's what I'd say there is like, yeah, obviously I also like, you know, wasn't playing my absolute best. It was also dead for some of this, but the fact that we're going roughly even, you know, that should tell you that like I'm not getting to play most of my build. I was playing knife a lot rather than actually shooting because there wasn't really much space to be had to be shooting. Also, this map fucking sucked. It was, I mean, this map is terrible in general, power, whatever, and it was like just crawling with enemies that were trying to kill us. It's crazy boss spawns. Anyway, moving past that, let's talk about the meta as far as the melee weapon. I mentioned, I think that the most powerful like melee build, whatever it is, right, is got to be something with the Arc Maul. I think that he gets pretty close to conceding that like the Arc Maul is probably relatively on the power level with the transonic blades. I think if we're putting transonic blades in the running for that, we could put knife up there too, right? Knife is crazy with this class. A lot of stuff is crazy with this class, and I think that's a good sign for the class. A lot of stuff is pretty close in that bracket. I just think that Arc Maul jumps a little bit ahead because the arc mechanic is so crazy. You can just blow up everything, and you have to remember that, yes, of course, on Havoc 40, where everything has a lot of boosted health, it doesn't feel like this thing is like really egregious and doing a lot of damage, but then you come to like lower difficulties like even middle Havoc and Auric, and the base damage of this thing is enough to just clobber most enemies to death, and the arcs are just like exploding entire packs because the base damages and stuff are so high, and this thing is crazy with crit, etc. So I think that like just generally this is going to be a strong weapon for most players because stagger is so good for most players, you know, being able to stagger enemies out of attacks, synergies with electrocution, etc. It's all there. Moving on, Phosphor Pistol. I think we just got to agree to disagree on this one. I don't know. I can't live without my my Infernus Blessing. I think it adds so much utility and like clears my brain space to be like, okay, I shot that guy 2 times. I know he's burning for 10 stacks. He's dead. He's out of sight, out of mind. He can go cook over there for now. The Curios thing is something that I must have overlooked here or didn't think about. We are using Medicae Servo Skull, so I cut the revive speed from it. But if you want to add revive speed back, which I think might be wise, depends on whether or not you are going to be trying to get manual revives to save Servo Skulls sometimes. If you're not using Purgatus, you got 4 skulls to use on the Medicae, which is generally more than enough. If you needed to cut some, I would cut 1 combat ability regen and 1 damage resistance versus bombers from this setup here, rather than cutting any gunners. I think 2 gunners, 3 regeneration speed because we're sticking with that aura. But obviously this is really easy. If you didn't use the aura that I suggested using, which I think is a good aura, and I think Reginald agrees that it does feel very nice to use that aura, then you could obviously add in 3 revive speed there and you'd be just fine. Okay, moving on past that. Purgator, I'm not even fucking talking about Purgator anymore. I'm over it. There's something wrong with this guy. He's AI. He's hallucinating. The Purgator needs to be in the build. It doesn't. We'll move on. And then we had something about, what was it? I think I skipped over here somewhere. Oh, where is it? The Claw? I don't know if he mentioned the Claw is somewhere in here. Anyway, he talks about the Claw and how, oh, there it is. I saw Slice and Dice. Yeah, Slice and Dice versus Satiated Steel. I gotta say, like, Satiated Steel, to my taste, is so much better just for like quality of life stuff, you know? Over the course of the game, you have to consider, right, the difference here between Slice and Dice and Satiated Steel, because these are mutually exclusive, is you're getting 25% capacitance over 5 seconds. And what that means is that if you have a Psyker on your team and you have your triple cooldown reduction Curios, you're sitting at 78% capacitance to get another charge, which means you're getting almost a third of your charge back every time you use one of these, meaning you're getting 1/3, 30% more ults, 30% more cord calls across the course of the entire game. That's a lot, and it gives you better uptimes on sequence charge here, you know, because your charges are coming back faster thanks to this. And then it also is going to give you way better advanced power management stacks because we're going to be at higher stacks generally. And that was my recommendation, is that with this, if you hang out at like 4 to 5 stacks constantly with Redline, you're going to get a lot of buffs out of advanced power management, because you're going to get a 25% power buff for 10 seconds if you use this from 5 stacks, or 20% from 4. The problem with using the slice and dice is that it expects you, and as Reginald demonstrates in some of his gameplay footage here, he says when a difficulty spike hits, he'll like dump all of his charges back to back to back, and I think that's like bad. I don't think that I really ever want to dump all of my charges for the Cord Claw, because remember, charges are valuable for other things too. Charges also are giving us toughness damage reduction right here on this build, so like having more charges is good for us, and it gives us more regeneration as well. So keeping your charges high is going to provide lots of passive benefits. Dumping all your charges back to back to back to get some extra damage that you probably aren't like dying to get. It really only matters on bosses, right? Then I think this is just silly. For the point, you should just be getting more regen of these claws, because for every target that's not a boss, a face ripper plus like a tiny little bit of boosted damage will kill a crusher. So just bosses is the only thing it's useful for. And then the final thing that he didn't really address, I guess he did it a little bit. It was server core recharge engine. So yeah, here, by the way, this is his build suggestion. Wait, what am I missing here? Hold on, I'm missing something. What point did I just take out? Oh yeah, that one. Okay, so this is his build. This is his V5 or whatever's on the Gameslantern, or whatever, my account on the Gameslantern where I put it up. This is V5 build, and so he has changed a couple things a little bit, but he doesn't like this. He likes full render Creed instead. I would say if we're gonna change anything, the 2 points that I think you should change the most are, we should just do this and this. Well, I guess you should. I want you to do this as well. But if you have to have it, right? If you must, please get System Shock and Retribution Conduit, right? We are critting like upwards of 50% of the time, which means our critical hits are electrocuting targets, which means he already says somewhere in there that this is a good flex node if you want to drop Flame Skull. This is an amazing one because electrocution, applying brittleness, it's a unique effect. Getting brittleness is pretty rare in the game in general right now. And Skitari can just apply it on his melee attacks like quite frequently. This is crazy, and if you're taking this, you gotta take this, man, because that is scaling off of our ability charges. We're getting full 35% when you have all those stacks. So this scales all of our damage. It scales our range, it scales our cord claws, it scales our transonic blades. So like if I was gonna make just two passive changes, that would be it, and leave everything else the same, I would be content with that. Honestly, there we go. This is a fine build. Like, this is good. This is like almost no different than Reginald's build at all. And in fact, he suggested changing that. But I don't remember. I swear I talked to him about Retribution Conduit, but I was drunk. So I can't remember exactly what he said in reply. But yeah, if you were to change the least possible, I think something like this would be very fine and be good. He likes Server Core Recharge Engine because he's showing here that, like, you know, even he gets hit in melee when he's fighting a horde. My counterpoint to that would be is like the reason we're taking hits here, as you can see, you know, the reason he's taking hits in this horde is because he is not using his full complement of skills, right? When you get hit normally as a player, your reaction isn't to continue hacking the horde, it's to make some space, like slide out of there, push and then slide, or to use a cord claw and get a bunch of space. I understand that's not the purpose of his test, but I think that would add a lot to the authenticity, because that's what I would do. And, you know, he told me he's a good player who's not going to get hit. So if he took this out, right, and then he just played with adaptive combat calibration instead, and could save this node here and get more cleave, you could get more cleave there, and then that would be, you know, easier horde clears, etc., and then just play a little bit better, play a little bit safer for not taking hits. I think that for most players, this is easily the weakest toughness regeneration talent on the tree, because you have to hit a headshot, you have to get a kill, and you have to be in range to get a headshot. So yeah, losing that isn't like the biggest crime in the world, although there isn't much other generation on the tree. So that could be a problem too. If I were in charge of making a tree like this for like the general player, I would definitely want to have Surge Extension on here, because this is a really, really solid regeneration node for general use. But I don't know exactly where that would come from, because we're using so many nodes all over the map anyway. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Probably last time I'll talk about it. This is silly. I'm seated in my fucking arc rifle spam camp, and he can go have his fun with a cord claw. Yeah. So I mean, there you go. Enemies dispatched. I am reasserted. My kingdom is safe for today. I'm raising the drawbridge. Okay, the moat, it's full of alligators. Don't fucking come at me. Don't bother me. Okay, I'm busy in here I'm doing stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go play Minecraft. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.